Hi, folks. Welcome back to Marvel Mania. Jedi Captain Logan, and joining me as always. Whoa, what's happening?
Sorry, I think that might be on my end.
Is that on your? I think that's on your end.
Yeah.
Rookie mistake, DJ.
Of course.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Tonight, DJ and I, welcome, DJ. Thanks for being here, man. My wonderful co-host, as always. DJ and I have been, for the last few months, going through the last several, 12, 13 Marvel movies and doing commentaries for you live. We are all ready to Captain Marvel, and DJ, do you have any idea how many we have left? We're right on the cusp of Endgame.
If I'm correct, I think we just have Endgame and then the two X-Men movies.
Is that right? Is that all we've got left? Goodness.
Endgame. Oh, and Far From Home, of course. Far From Home,
sure.
Dark Phoenix, and then New Mutants. Two MCU,
four
X-Men.
movies. Yeah. So 2 more months doing this every 2 weeks, and then we're going to be back to just some regular commentaries a couple times a month. Kind of bittersweet for me. This has been such a fun staple, and I missed doing this when I was doing it with Eric, and it was nice that so much of this stacked up, and we were able to do it again. And DJ, thanks a lot for coming in and committing to it, and this was kind of your idea bringing it back, so I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is a commitment. It's probably more of a commitment than I realized when I brought up the idea of doing it. Especially because I did so much art for it.
I was going to say more of a commitment even for you, because this has been the most production you've ever had to do.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even have to do that logo at the beginning. That was just adding extra work to my plate. The
DJ
intro.
is rocking his silver Marvel Mania shirt.
Silver. I couldn't decide which one better fit this movie. I think silver is kind of a Captain Marvel thing. I didn't have a gold one, so that's the closest thing.
Man, now I just want to complain about the thing with with the device that lets you change the colors in the costume, but we'll get to that when we get there. DJ, how many times have you seen this one?
I saw it in the theater, and I saw it Sunday night. So
that
this
was
will be
me.
my third.
I cannot remember if I went twice. I think I saw it a second time because I usually do that, but I can't remember. I may have only seen this once in the theater. So I saw this again the other day for the second or third time, and so this one I'm not as familiar with a lot over some of the other things that we've done in Marvel Media this batch. So everybody bear with us because I did just watch it again. So I mean I'm sort of prepared, but like full disclosure, I don't hate this movie or anything, but man, I lose interest by the third act. Like I had a really hard time this time not pulling out my phone and doing stuff while we got into the home stretch.
Yeah, I guess we'll just talk about. I don't know if we should talk about anything, and just maybe we should just hit play because we might run out of stuff to say.
We might run out of things to talk about. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, first experience I had with this was actually pretty good. I guess just the trappings and the structure was different enough from the other solo Marvel movies that I was just. It was, and this is a character I know zero about, so like I was learning stuff as I watched it in theater.
Yeah.
So I had a good enough time the first time I watched it. Liked it a little more, but yeah, the second time when all that stuff was already in my brain and it wasn't as didn't really. Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, this is just kind of middle of the road, mediocre, just kind of, not even enough to get. It's not like a bad one that I can get mad at or at least like rant at or anything, but it's just kind of like there.
Yeah, Ragnarok was more fun because I had so much to say about that movie. Despite the fact that I really kind of loathe it and I dislike it a lot more than this, but this is probably in my bottom 5, I'd say.
Yeah, it's more in the middle for me, just because there's more movies that like make me mad. This is kind of like right in the middle with like Doctor Strange and some of those ones. Thor.
Oh, I see. I think both Doctor Strange and Thor are quite a bit better than this, but.
Yeah, well, they're both above it, but I've just got some of the other ones. But anyway.
And you know what? At some point it might be a good idea, DJ, for you and I to do what Eric and I did years ago and do a ranked MCU list together. Because he and I talked about coming back and doing that again. And maybe at some point he'll do that with me as well. But since you've been the other Marvel Mania co-host, it may be a cool idea sometime shortly after we're finished with the series for you and I to sit down and go through a ranked list.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. I love doing that. I love lists. I'm always on Letterboxd doing that kind of stuff, so that'd be cool.
Quick plug for the Superhero Rewind Letterboxd. That is a thing that I just put together about 6-8 weeks ago, and I have the ranked list of all of the movies that I've done in Superhero Rewind so far, and I'm keeping up with that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun making those lists. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into Captain Marvel, shall we? I'm stalling because I'd rather just talk to DJ than watch this movie, I think. But we'll go ahead and get into it and try to have a good time with it. If you want to watch it with us, make sure that you've got out your DVD, Blu-ray, your Disney Plus, however you want to watch it. We're both watching this on Disney Plus, and there's his snazzy Blu-ray. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I could have watched this on Disney Plus. I'm actually not. I'm watching
you're
it on
not? Okay.
the digital copy, but I completely forgot about that.
I'm not sure which copy I have of that one. Is that a special one, or is that just kind of the bare bones?
This is the this is the one that Disney did for a while, that they did with Ragnarok and Far From Home and all the two Avengers.
Where it looks like an early 2000s TV box set, but it's actually just for one movie.
Yeah, and it's really weird that like the guy is just Ben Mendelsohn on here. It's not because I guess they didn't want to put Talos because they didn't want to reveal that he's like a huge character. So it's just like all the other characters and then just his boss, Nick Fury's boss, who's in it for like 10 minutes.
Okay, but let me tell you
weird.
why that's strange, because Talos is played up as being the main villain for a minute. You'd think that you'd use him all over the advertising. It's like, look, it's gonna be the bad guy, and you shouldn't be surprised that he's the villain because it's Ben Mendelsohn, and he only plays like jerk face, like uptight, arrogant meanie pantses, and then like that's clearly why he was cast here, because it was the casting subverts your expectation.
Yeah, that's a good casting. But yeah, I don't know why they thought they had to put just him in a work vest.
And also that pose is hilarious because he looks like he thinks he's wearing a superhero costume.
Yeah, it's like they just took a picture of his face and like, don't worry, we'll put you in something cool later, and they just photoshopped him into a 3-piece suit without the jacket.
So good. All right, guys, get into timestamp 0 and get ready to press play when I say now. Like, I saw that freaking cat. That cat triggers me. Okay, let's do it. Everybody get ready to press play when I say now. We're going to get right into it. Let's go back to the 90s for possibly no real reason. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. Bomb, 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 bomb. So, this is going to be the all Stan Lee's version.
Yeah, so cool. It's really cool. And it's so crazy that they have enough footage of him just in the MCU to do this. Like, they didn't even have to go to, like, the X-Men movies or any of his other
And at this point, they
cameos.
wouldn't have even had access to those.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't have done that. But it's really funny because maybe some of them are repeated where, like, you can't tell because they're not using the exact image. I'm not sure. But, like, you see all the ones on the sides of the letters, and then when they back it off, there's still all this other footage.
Yeah. So many cameos.
It's pretty classy. I like it.
It's really cool. It's unfortunate that I didn't get to go to Endgame, but, I mean, what are you going to do? He died when he died.
Yeah. Endgame being... Well, that was the next year. I don't think you can wait. I think if they had put it in both places, people probably wouldn't have cried foul or complained too much.
Yeah, it was only a couple months after. I don't know why. She has blue blood!
Yeah, except it in this scene it comes out green. It looks green.
It's like a teal.
So
yeah, it's like
when Marvel later in the flashback, when Carol is like, "Oh, you have blue blood," I'm like, "Does she? Oh, I guess it does look blue in this scene." Okay.
There is a deleted scene that is right here, right out the gate. When she walks in to him, he is like talking to a bunch of children, and it's a lot more creepy because they're like brainwashing them from like so early on. It's really like unsettling, and they get a little bit of banter, and she like makes fun of him for like seeing himself in the what's the big thing called where you see the person you most admire.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it in a second. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, so I don't know why they cut that scene. It was kind of
the mythology with this movie does not stick with me real hard. Like I said, I've only seen this a couple times, so name dropping a lot of that stuff. Something intelligence.
Yeah, the Supreme Intelligence.
Supreme Intelligence, that's what it is. So on another reviewing, everything about this feels set up for this guy to turn out to be the bad guy, and I felt like an idiot for not picking up on it. Like, I can't call it obvious because I didn't know, not that it played as an exciting revelation to me or anything. I was like, oh, okay, so the Skrulls are refugees and the Kree are, or at least some of the Kree are the bad guys, and okay. Like, it wasn't a big what, for me anyway.
Yeah, because we get no time with them. Like, they're here a little bit, they go on that mission, and they're separated the whole movie.
Well, that's a good point. That's part of it, is you've kind of forgotten about him, because that seemed like just the setup to get her to Earth in the first place.
Yeah, he should be the mentor character. It should be heart-wrenching. Like, they should have such a good relationship together that we hate it when he turns out to be bad.
Yeah, and he's just gruff and kind of generic, and, I don't have that. And I know he's trying to play it like he's, the mentor that's, like, hard on her, it's the tough love thing, and all of that, but, like, I'm indifferent toward that guy, and you're absolutely right, I shouldn't be.
And, well, yeah, he should be playing it, well, I don't think it's his fault. I think the script should be playing it.
Yeah.
Like, he actually cares for her, and he wants her to, like, but it's just like he wants that power right now. Like, he doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a real compelling motivation. It's just kind of typical, and
yeah, it's like he just went to that planet to get the power, and then now it's in her, so he just has to put up with her. I mean, they have a little bit of rapport, but I don't get the sense at the end that he actually cares for her and he wants her to be on his side.
No, and I'm not going to go as far as to say that it necessarily had to be like a romantic thing or a sexual tension, or like one of them seemed to like the other one and then at the end it turns out that he's bad, but like something like that would have helped, right?
Yeah, they could go that way.
That could be played too typical, but it feels like, and I'm gonna go ahead and get the elephant in the room out now because I know a lot of people complain about this, and I don't totally disagree with it. It does feel like a movie where we're avoiding a love interest for no reason other than we have a female protagonist, and that it might read too cliche if the girl is in love with someone, which I find preposterous, and. Like, I'm not saying that it has to be a love story, but because I'm not latching on to much with the interpersonal relationships, it's more glaring that we don't have one. And I'm not saying that would necessarily be great, like whatever they ended up doing with it, but it does feel like we're avoiding it just because we've got a female protagonist. And every single solo male-led Marvel movie has a love interest, all of them.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it. I would have preferred it if it was just a better mentor-student relationship. Like,
I don't even need it to be that
like Obi-Wan.
And again, I don't need it at all.
I think
it's one of the things that makes the movie feel kind of generic to me, and they don't compensate in the right way with anything else.
Well, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like I don't know if they were just scared, but like the love interest should kind of be Rambo, right?
Oh, interesting. I hadn't had that thought. Yeah, it could have been. It shouldn't be Nick Fury. That'd be weird. I mean, I guess it could have been, but that, like, having them together and then that ends tragically for some reason, adding to his, later on, like more, suspicious and gruff personality. I guess you could have done that, but
yeah.
I don't like that this movie informs Nick Fury's cynicism in zero way whatsoever.
No, that was later. Yeah, he was a spy throughout the wars, and he made it through fine. But after this, somehow
something happened after this with the bad guy, and like related to. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say related to the bad guy in Winter Soldier, but I guess they got along fine too.
Yeah, I don't know. I like him in this, but he's just a different character.
I do, but yeah. They play him like he's just, young and wet behind the ears and hasn't really had his big shattering disillusionment yet, and this would have been the place to put that, especially if you were gonna... I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but there's the whoo guy. I like that he's in this, but especially...
No, that's a nice touch. That's one of the prequel things, or like universe things that is nice touch. They're not trying to shove that in. He's just a Kree guy.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you remember that guy or not. There's look at those phaser rifles on the sides. That's really funny. They look like Star Trek phaser rifles circa 1996 from First Contact. But anyway,
I do like. It's funny because objectively you're very handsome. The humor in this movie is more dry than some of the other ones. Some of it, obviously, there's some goofy stuff later that I'm sure we'll rant about. But I do like the drier.
Stupid cat. Anyway.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I was watching the directors talk about this, just a little short thing, and they said after they turned in the script to Feige, his first note was, "We need 200% more goose," and then they added them. Oh. I'm like, Feige, what are you doing? What is wrong with you?
If that's true, I mean, I'd love some other examples before I could say this, because one does not a pattern make. But like, if that's his sensibilities, some of the kind of forced humor that people complain about with Marvel could be Feige's fault and nobody else's, or more his fault than anybody else's. But yeah, going with a more dry humor in this is smart, even though you risk it being kind of dull. But that's not the thing that makes it dull when it is. But it's smart because it separates it from the Guardians movies, and obviously the aesthetic of it, particularly when we're in space, is a Guardians movie. It needs to be, because we're dealing with some of those same species. Everybody's using the jump grid thing, and I like the consistency of it, the sense of continuity we have, which is a mixed bag, because visually, especially, we have this wonderful sense of continuity, and also with some of the events with the intergalactic stuff and with Ronan and all of that. I think he makes sense where he is here, and how he's different from what he'll be like later, before he gets his revenge motivation and wants to wipe out Xandar and all of that. But with this, it looks right, and like I said, good sense of continuity. Except it also has prequelitis to the max. With the cat thing with Nick Fury, and a number of other things that we'll talk about later on.
Yeah, I can't wait for the 30-minute rant just about that one joke.
But you can't just make a joke out of that. It's wrong. It's just
I know.
It's incorrect.
I'm with you, man. I'm just excited about it. I'm not against you.
So to the in the defense of the filmmakers here, this is not easy material to adapt. And they're going to a character that is, like the Guardians, not well known. Unlike the Guardians, not as easy to deliver to a mainstream audience. I'm not saying that was easy, but if you don't completely overhaul her origin, and to their credit, they tried to play it, more or less straight and see if they could get away with it. It's going to be a little convoluted, and it's going to be there's not going to be a lot of recognizable stuff in it. It's a very strange origin story.
Yeah, and I didn't know anything about it. Like I said, this is a character that I just know nothing about. So anything I know is just from this movie.
As soon as they announced this, because I didn't know this character really, and I went and read a couple of things with Captain Marvel. When I found out what her background was, I was like, oh, that's going to be very strange to try to translate. I don't know if viewers are even going to understand what's happening, and we're going to be stuck with an amnesia plot, and it's going to be.
Oh, so that was there from the beginning.
That was there from the beginning, yeah.
I
believe. I'm pretty sure. And of course, as you know, I don't like. That's a nice silhouette work there. As you know, I don't like.
This scene is shot really well.
Generally, amnesia plots, and I'm not going to say this is one of the worst I've ever seen. I think they do the best they can with it, except we don't have a compelling character arc beyond she finds out who she was again and decides she was fine just the way she was, and has nothing to learn or to no self-discovery or anything. And from the beginning, we establish we kind of try to turn it on its head and make it a big surprise that she actually doesn't have to. She's gonna have a static character arc. She doesn't actually have anything to learn. It's she's too emotional, and she is too reactionary, and that gets her into trouble. And then when you get to the end, it's Nah, actually, that wasn't true, and that's the best thing about her. And she should always just run off half-cocked to do whatever first comes to mind. And that's the big thing. That's my big takeaway from this movie. That drops it down to the bottom five. Because it's not only the only MCU movie without a love interest, and I don't know if these things are related, but it also happens to be the only MCU movie where there's not really any actual character art. Static or otherwise.
Yeah.
Like, they play it like a static art, but it's really just, okay, there's just nothing there. I don't know.
Yeah, because they play, I mean, it could have worked. Like, they hammer you over the head with, like, you're too emotional, you need to be more logical, the standard, like, insult to women thing that some guys do. But that, like, if they were going to play it like the static arc, she doesn't have anything that she does that is because she's super emotional that is why she wins, right? Like,
no,
I mean,
and she
doesn't prove him wrong, really. She just gets powers and then blasts him.
No, and Rambo later will say things like, you're a pain in the ass. Okay, show me that. Like, in what way is she supposedly that way? There are places where she does seem to just, because she's, a strong female character, and because and sometimes because she has superpowers and nothing can beat her, she does kind of have that sometimes Superman problem. She will just kind of run in without a plan. And that should get her into trouble, right? But it never really does. She doesn't really cause anything to happen because of that.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and read a couple super chats.
I got a super chat from Ryder here.
And I didn't mention that at the beginning, but we will read some comments as we go along and interact with you guys a little bit. We haven't done that yet. But if you guys want to make sure that something gets read on camera, you can leave a super chat, and we'll see it faster that way. Real quick, before we go to that, though, I just want to mention that I think it's funny that we do that typical sci-fi conceit where the aliens can talk to the humans because they have universal translators, but just like in Star Trek, they also are able to read English, and that has nothing to do with a universal translator.
Yeah, unless she's wearing something in her eyes to do it, like, because Google Translate can do that. Like, you can hold your phone up in other countries and it'll change signs to actually turn to English, but she's not wearing anything that could do that.
Well, I'm talking about Talos. I'm saying, like, he's able to look at name tags and things and read people's names.
Oh yeah.
And numbers and things. He knows what all of that means. But you're right. If he has some kind of implant or something in his eye that lets him do that, okay.
You could explain it, but they just don't. That's Norix?
Yes.
Oh, I gotcha. That's what they're talking about in the Discord.
Yeah, Norax was the guy that everybody was talking about in the Discord.
I had no idea what they were talking about. Anyway, Ryder wants to know, $2, which is less 90s aesthetic, Dark Phoenix or this?
Oh, Dark Phoenix, most assuredly. I think this does fine with the aesthetic. It's personally, and it gets some, okay references in there, and I don't think it beats you over the head too hard with the fact that it's the 90s. I could see other people disagreeing with that. There are, it's got some songs that might be too bashing over the head for some people. This was my era. I grew up in the 90s. I appreciated the garbage selection. There's some stuff that I really like that they did with it. The bigger question is like Dark Phoenix kept kind of forgetting it was in that era, and this doesn't have that problem. But there is the question of, did it need to be here, and not just did it need to be in this period. Like what is it about the 90s that is more interesting to tell this story than in present day? Does it have something to do with counterculture or where we were technologically, or is there, because a lot of people have asked this question, what was the point of this being in the 90s? But then there's also the question of, did this story need to be a flashback story? Because of course, if you're going to go back, if you're going to say that she was on Earth at some earlier date before we had superheroes, you're just naturally going to wind up in the 80s or 90s or whenever it is. So it doesn't necessarily have to thematically relate to the time period. It would be nice if it did that. But I think the bigger question is, was it necessary? Now you can read that. He's an alien, and I don't think he's ever seen Earth before. Now, they have a number for that planet, so they at least are aware of it. They know something about Earth, so maybe. But anyway, but the bigger question for me is, DJ, could this story more or less not have been told after you had superheroes in the Avengers? Why was it done here? Did Carol have to be, like, did we do it just so that she was the precursor to a lot of superhero stuff? And then why did we do that? And is that a little forced? Is it like, look how important she is, and let's make her sort of our Superman retroactively? It kind of feels that way. And that's some of the stuff that makes it very prequelitis-y to me, and that makes it feel like they're kind of screaming at us, you're supposed to love her, and it's hard not to resist that. And if the story made me do that, then that's great, and then I would just sort of have to deal with that stuff. But you have that at the same time on top of a character that I don't fully understand, played by an actress that I don't think is also fully getting the material, and she does the best she can with what she's got. On first viewing, I thought that there were some scenes where she seemed like a different character than other scenes. It seemed more consistent the last time I saw it. I'm not blaming Brie Larson for this, but when you get to the end of this, it's just a weird story that's not really very character driven.
Yeah, she just has nothing to work with. Like, there's some scenes where, like, she comes alive a little bit, and she has a little, like, especially when Nick Fury gets there, but, and actually, especially when she starts talking to Rambeau, but yeah, she just has nothing to work with in the movie. Same thing with Ragnar, or whatever his name is. Jan Rog, Jude Law.
Somebody way up in the chat.
I will say I do like I like the trippy dream like memory sequences, and that actually, yeah, I like that shot that's done all in one shot where it's like the camera turns and like she goes around and then she's the same person on the other side.
Yeah, but what sucks is those are the things that are supposed to, humanize her and give us a sense of. You think at first like her flaws, and
well, we don't learn anything in those flashbacks. That's the problem.
Yeah, and it's really just she was a girl who was raised in a man's world, and I think it's this era a little late for some of that. Like, some of it's warranted. I get some of the stuff with the Air Force.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That, like, she's not allowed to be in combat planes and stuff as a woman yet. They haven't changed that rule. And I get, like, misogynist, coming onto her and stuff, but, like, I need a prevailing character trait. I need something more than people think that you're too emotional just because you're a woman. Like, but what's her actual personality?
Yeah, that just makes her standard stock woman, though. Like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, a lot of women deal with that, but I don't know. She just handles it. I don't know. She's just a go-getter, man. She just keeps going, even though when she flips her go-kart, she just gets back up and keeps going.
All you have to do is say she's really impulsive and not make that too connected to the mean things that people have said to her because she's a girl. Like, separate those things out. I'm not saying that it's necessarily a movie that pretends like we've never had a female protagonist before, but I do feel like there are places where it's held back. It's either held back too much by that, or it's trying too hard to make it about that for no good reason other than. So let me tell you what I think it is. I think it's defensive. I think it's the MCU going, we didn't get out ahead of this when we could have. We could have gotten a Black Widow movie or another female-led superhero movie out way before DC did with Wonder Woman. It is preposterous that they didn't do that.
Wonder Woman beat us to the punch, and then they did it such a good job that we're like,
whether you like or hate that movie, people did respond to Wonder Woman. It was a cultural phenomenon. It wasn't Black Panther or anything, but I mean, people liked that movie, and it resonated with people, and men and women alike. And then they're like, well, we can't just put out a female-led superhero movie and it not be about gender at all, because then it'll look like we just did it obligatorily and we threw in. I think, again, defensive. I think they were trying really hard not to make a movie that looked like their main character could have just been a man. where it's like, well, fine, we'll go ahead and give you a female-led movie, but it's going to be just the same stock movie that we keep making, but with a female protagonist. I think they accidentally kind of did that anyway.
Did that, yeah. Yeah, that's what they did. This is like a phase one, not great origin movie. But yeah, Wonder Woman also had the added advantage that it was in the past, like way in the past. So the gender stuff didn't seem, I don't know. I guess it doesn't seem, I don't think this movie's preachy, but it's even less preachy when you're talking about like World War One, because it's so distant from us.
Yeah, I don't think it's preachy. Some of that stuff just seems a little shoved
Clunky.
In there. Like,
yeah,
it needs to either
awkward.
be about that or not be there, I think. Am I wrong? Because it could be more about that and not be, preachy and shoved in our face. But it's like, is this a movie about a woman who got the short end of the stick because she was a woman? Or is it just a celebration of, strong women in general? Like, I'm not sure what they're getting at with the gender stuff that is in the movie, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the character did have that backstory, but it's just not that much of the movie. It's just those flashbacks, that little montage we get, and then like a couple jerks talk to her, the motorcycle guy. Oh, did you know that was originally, they wanted that to be a cardboard cutout of the Mask? Because she thought it was like a green scroll, and she blasted it real quick, but they couldn't get the rights to it. So
that sucks. That would have been great.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, that would have been much better.
I don't remember what exact year this is supposed to take place in, but if there was an actual display there for the Mask, it would have to be 94. And I thought this was a little later. I thought it was more like 97, 98.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know when True Lies came out. I don't know. Sometimes Blockbuster just have posters and stuff on the walls for a couple of years.
Travis Wayne, her personality aligns pretty well with Wolverine, if you think about it. There are major similarities. The way Carol unleashes at the end with the Kree ship is her berserker mode. You got to bring that more to the fore if that's what it's supposed to be, because I'm not getting that sense from it. It seems to me more like she's yeah. I'm seeing what seems like brashness from her, and like sometimes rage, but then there aren't really rage-esque consequences or anything. Like when we do it with Wolverine, people are scared of him, and it's sometimes a problem, and he sometimes has a hard time forming relationships with people and stuff because he acts that way. I'm not really seeing an animal inside of Carol so much as just this kind of, I don't know, maybe this is a terrible way to put it, but it just seems like this general kind of empowerment thing where we're supposed to go like, yeah, rah rah, because she's, shooting people with her with her energy powers, and then she wins, and that's it.
Well,
like,
I would say,
I don't know what we're saying with any of that.
I would say she's like Wolverine in the bad X-Men movies. Like where he, just like Origins, where he's too stoic and not animal enough. Not emotional enough.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Origins, he's just walking around. That's kind of what she is. She's more, I don't even get the idea that she's super emotional. Like they keep telling us she is, but I don't see it.
There are plot points where she'll do an impulsive thing because she's supposed to do that in the scene, and then we're told by her mentor, who turns out to be the bad guy, that that's what's holding her back, but he's really just saying that because he wants her powers and he doesn't want her to, I think the idea is he doesn't want her to understand the full potential of those abilities, and then he's going to try to take those from her. And then when you get to the end, it's, no, actually she wasn't too impulsive, she should always just do whatever first comes to mind, and that's not right either. Like, it's just awkward, because as you said, like, I don't see her as super impulsive except for the scenes where they decide she is.
Yeah, she's real stoic and, like, reserved.
Let me say this movie through and through, all the way through, looks really good.
Yeah, it's shot really well. I like the, I didn't look at any of the advertising. I mean, this is how much I didn't, the Blockbuster was like a big thing for me in the theater. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Because I didn't even know that. I'm sure that was all over the trailers.
Yeah, the trailers open with her blasting into the Blockbuster. That's kind of the big image they sold it on, is, look, it's the 90s.
I'm glad I didn't see that, because that took me back. I was like, oh man, I haven't seen one of those in forever. Fierce.
Yeah, and I mean the set and prop guys did an amazing job with all of that.
Yeah, I don't know where tracking down all those VHS
because
tapes.
it really took me back, man. Like everything about this looks like the era that it's set in, and for me, it just wasn't that long ago. I miss video stores, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
The Colson reversal we're gonna get here in a little bit was a surprise in the theater. I did not call that he would end up being a Skrull, and that like I like the moment where he calls up Nick Fury on the phone and Fury's talking to Colson in the car and he's got Colson sitting next to him. That's a nice moment.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I'm here. Got collected the evidence. We're all good. Where is everybody?"
As the graphic designer that you are, because you have a different perspective on this stuff than I do, how do you feel about the way the de-aging effect looks in this particular movie?
I think Fury looks great. I don't know why it works so well on him. I think he just hasn't changed much in like 40 years. But for some, it really works with Fury. I think it's harder with Greg because they're just doing a little bit less. I don't know. For some reason, Greg, it's a little more apparent. I get that kind of X-Men 3, like no lines face with Greg a little bit.
And I wonder if that's part of the reason he's not in the movie too much. It's a cameo before it's nearly a cameo before it's a supporting role.
Yeah, but I think they did a great job with Fury. Obviously, you can tell a little bit when he has to do action that he's not a 30-year-old dude. But
yeah, that's
true.
His
face looks great.
But you take that over having to resort to another actor. I mean, I'm really glad that he got to do that and we didn't recast him. That would have been a mistake.
Oh yeah. I think it works perfectly. I think they could have. It didn't take me out at all the first time I saw it. But yeah, he's just kind of what is he? What is S.H.I.E.L.D. doing now? Is he just like a FBI agent, basically? Because he has no idea about any of this.
Well, I never understand S.H.I.E.L.D. because they're apparently a secret organization that just keeps going around and putting their logo on everything and showing people their credentials. We work for S.H.I.E.L.D. Everybody knows what S.H.I.E.L.D. is, and then you get to Iron Man, and famously, nobody's ever heard of S.H.I.E.L.D., and they're not even using the acronym yet. So obviously, that's a retcon that you're stuck with. Like, I'm not going to call that part of the prequelitis.
No, because we've already done that.
That's cool. I never noticed that before. The old woman leaves the bus.
Yeah, that's how she knows that
I never noticed that before. I thought she just somehow had a sixth sense about Skrulls. Okay, well, no, that's good, because that's her being really observant and doing her job well. Okay, and I'm not observant, because I never noticed that before. No, that's good.
Yeah, there's a little...
They did a great job of setting that up.
And she's a military person, so she would notice that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is an alright cameo. I think they would have... I don't know. It's a cool meta cameo. I like it. It's no like Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse or anything.
It's a weird meta cameo because this kind of thing, I always overthink it. It breaks my brain.
Yeah. Because now this movie exists.
Stan Lee, and he's and he's rehearsing for his cameo in Mallrats. Then that means that there is some alternate Marvel or something like Marvel comic universe that he created inside of the Marvel universe. And that also sort of breaks. I also like that her smile is kind of Skrullish.
This old woman has a Skrullish smile.
They cast her because she has a Skrull smile.
I would love it if that were true. That's the only reason she got cast.
But also, does that not see that actually being Stan Lee rehearsing for Mallrats? I mean, to be fair, he could be a different person that was just like Stan Lee that was cast in Mallrats, I guess, in this other, alternate history universe. But doesn't that kind of break the whole Watcher thing a little bit?
Yeah, because unless that informant that was talking to the Watchers took on the form of an already existing man.
Maybe so. Or maybe that was the guy he picked in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, he picked him to be there.
But the problem is Stan Lee has cameos going all the way back to the 40s, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they were just like, hey, it's in the 90s. That's as far as they thought about it.
Jedi Knight, this movie was surprisingly apolitical despite people, what people have accused it of. Yeah, it tries to play it really safe, but it also, I think, and like, people blew all that way out of proportion, and it's like, see the movie at the very least before you start lobbing those kinds of bombs at it. This is a decent car chase.
Yeah, it's cool to get... Yeah,
I like that camera move when she flips. The action in this is all really good. Like you said earlier, the trappings in this are great. It's just kind of a weak script.
Yeah, that's what was enough to get me through, because I was in the theater. You know, it's a huge screen. I'm seeing it with the crowd, and that was just enough to get me through the first time. But when you start thinking about it, and it's just like...
Okay, anytime you do a wide shot of a man standing in the middle of a road talking on a phone, I immediately expect him to get hit by some vehicle. I was actually very surprised in the theater when Colson does not get hit by a car in that shot.
Well, he was in a parking lot, so...
Well, was it a parking lot? Okay, all right, well, fair enough.
He was back at the Blockbuster.
Is he still at the Blockbuster? Professor Zoom, Captain Marvel could have been a good movie, but they chose to go the woke route and made Carol a very unlikable character. I don't think she's unlikable. I'm just indifferent to her. There are scenes where I like her quite a bit, and then I realize I don't really know what this character is.
Yeah, she, like you said, the performance is a little charming in some places, but it's just she has nothing to work with.
And that's not a term that I like to bandy about and really talk about, but as far as the whole like woke thing goes, I don't think the movie is that, with what I'm sure you mean by that term, so much as it's trying to make everybody happy. I think it's trying to appease the people who want it to be that, while at the same time not pushing out the people who don't. And that's a lot of what makes it kind of generic. I think that's part of the reason they're afraid to give her a love interest, and I think it's part of the reason that at the end of the day, she's a little too perfect. I think that they're afraid to give her any major character flaw because, again, since they didn't get ahead of Wonder Woman and stuff, they're afraid that people who really want a big, strong, female-led superhero movie are going to be disappointed if they make her if they give her too many problems. And so she has to be Superman. She has to be perfect.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
And I wish they had taken more risks with her character.
Yeah, I don't know how much that... Yeah, I'm sure a lot of it is that, but it's also that they either were stuck with or were thought that they were stuck with this amnesia plot.
That...
Which really doesn't do them any favors.
That too, yeah. Well, because then it's like, okay, so I've got this big inherent character flaw. You could have a nature-nurture thing there, but that's not all that interesting. Because, like, once she gets... What we usually do with amnesia stuff is you get your personality back, and now you're just the person that you always were. And it's like, okay, I found myself now, and so we all have to catch up. It's like we've been... your internal conflict and your character arc, the whole movie, has just been the whole story... by the way, there's like horrible deleted scene
yes.
with this guy that on the motorcycle that we're really lucky they cut, because that by itself, if it was in here, would have
like Mr. Miyagi's
angered people in a way that like Ghostbusters did.
Yeah, I thought when I was watching the deleted scene, I thought
it would have made it look pretty preachy.
I thought it was just going to be the Man of Steel thing where she like breaks his motorcycle up. Like he smashes that guy's semi-truck up in Man of Steel, but no, she like breaks his wrist.
She brutalizes a man for coming on to her, and we're supposed to be like, "Good for you, Carol. That guy was a womanizer. Break his arm." I can't even believe they shot it.
Yeah,
but it feels kind of half-hearted. I mean, it really feels like people who don't want necessarily that kind of thing trying to appease people who do.
Yeah, it's like they clearly didn't like it because they cut it out. So
I've not looked at special features on this. If there's director commentary over that, I want to know what they're saying about that. This was a co-directed movie, was it not?
It was. I don't know if it's a husband and wife couple or if it's just a man and a woman, but yeah, there's two directors. They have a commentary on the movie. I did not watch that.
Oh, I'll have to listen to that. At least when I do the rewind eventually, I will.
I think it's smart that they telegraph this immediately. Like, they don't try to keep it a secret that he's a Skrull, because they just did the Skrull reveal with Colson, so they know we're going to be like looking for it everywhere.
That's a really good point. Yeah,
it's smart that they just immediately show that he's. I like how they do it too. It's a nice little reveal where
I also think they may not be confident enough in their own makeup, because we've already seen him as a Skrull a little bit, and I think they're probably thinking we can't try to pretend like it's a secret, because anybody that really knows Mendelsohn already knows that that's him in that makeup.
And I think that's hilarious that they cast a guy who's always plays a villain to be subverted.
Yeah, it's really funny.
And I can't believe the tech guy from The Office I can't take him seriously as the doctor. Ryder wants to know, are the MCU Skrulls boring? And then he has a follow-up super chat where I hope he could just continue to do this with all his super chats, where he compares to the Dark Phoenix and says, who did
just because they came out at the same time?
Well, and they have this in the 90s thing, and they have this, who did Skrulls better, Dark Phoenix or this?
By the way, real quick, that was the garbage song that I mentioned, Only Happy When It Rains. That was one of my favorite songs when it was on. When it was out. But anyway, I Verdict, there's Street Fighter 2. I like the way they do the flashbacks in this room. I think that's pretty cool.
It's a cool effect.
She's having memories of all the things that she did in this room.
Although, like, I guess she drove here. How close did she land to her hometown that she could just drive there on a motorcycle? That's pretty convenient.
Boy, I never thought of that. Yeah, that's lucky.
She fell from space. Could have landed anywhere.
Well, I just can't remember. Did she just crash in some arbitrary place and it happens to be close to where all the important action is? Or was it because she followed somebody here?
I don't know. I don't know
if the Skrulls are after the Lightspeed engine, right?
Yeah, that might be true. Yeah, they may have come here because of what they saw in her head. They might.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, I don't like she did crash, but I don't think it was like an accidental anywhere on the planet kind of crash. I don't think it was the Venom symbiote in Spider-Man 3. It just happens to land right next to Peter Parker's moped.
No, I retract that.
It wasn't that. Now you could say that it's maybe a little bit convenient that she happened to drive to a bar that she's used to going to, but it also maybe it's supposed to be her memories reassessing themselves. So like the reason she came to this particular place was because of that.
Yeah, maybe so.
I guess
I don't know who called this. I don't know if she came here because
or did they already decide to meet here? I don't remember, or if they ever said it. I don't know this movie super well, guys.
Yeah.
We're learning. Anyway, as far as the are the Skrulls boring question, Verdict is out for me. I need to see how they continue to be used moving forward. For the sake of this movie, I think it's a decent and surprising revelation, and kind of just a nice subversion that the Skrulls are refugees, and even though they're doing, they're using their powers in a duplicitous way, it's because they're desperate and trying to survive, and like because they look scary, and we've got all these stories about horrible things they do. By the way, the joke here doesn't play great.
Where she breaks the.
I don't know. It's kind of funny.
I like his response to it. I like what?
Yeah. Well, a Skrull can't do that. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's better than I was thinking it was. Anyway, there was something about that on last viewing where I was like, I don't know, maybe it was just the timing of it. Like the joke lingered too long. I'm not sure. Something about that I wasn't liking last time. But anyway, it's a catch-22, right? Because the Skrulls are sometimes super scary in the comics and like a really good threat, and you want them to be used that way. But at the same time, that's what you're expecting, so it kind of becomes the Iron Man 3 thing, where it's like, is it worth the subversion? Does that ruin something? Does it take something away from, a potential menacing threat? And then you go, well, they still can be menacing later, because, like, let's not be racist, different Skrulls could be different.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't get people, like, an entire race does not act the same way, and a race that the war's been over for years and they're still being oppressed,
Yeah.
fully oppressed by this race, is gonna have some radicals rise up and do terrible things to overcorrect. Like that's what always happens.
And that's why I say Verdict is still out. We
Yeah,
need
they
to wait
could
until
be-
we
they
get
could
to
be the villains
Super
later.
Skrull or whatever they decide to do. And they've got the Fantastic Four now, which means they can straight up, wholesale do Super Skrull now. And really anything they want to.
I mean, bring back Chris Evans, Johnny Storm as Super Skrull. But no, there's definitely going to be some bad Skrulls. I mean,
That
just
whole
because
thing's
this
crazy.
this refugee group
Well, and
is
also we know they're building the Secret Invasion. We've already gotten the memo on that's going to be a Disney Plus show. And so the question is just, can they make certain Skrulls menacing enough now that we've had some good guy ones? And I imagine so.
yeah.
That is
a
part of
good-
the prequelitis, by the way. Maybe we should go ahead and go there real quick. I just don't buy that Nick Fury pre-Avengers knew about aliens and has been working with them all this time.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know if he's been working. I don't know if he sees her after this movie ever. Like it's just like he doesn't
No,
call
but
her
he's
till
been
Infinity
working
War.
with Skrulls the whole time.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Is you've got that
Yeah.
after
Oh,
credits
Yeah, I can't imagine Far
in
From
Far
Home.
From Home.
I
Really,
forgot how
he's-
great Talos is in this movie. Like Ben Mendelsohn is one of the best parts of this movie because I have such a bad taste in my mouth from that stupid reveal in Far From Home.
Well, I guess maybe that's more the problem with that. But yeah. But even if we didn't have that, and he hasn't been working with aliens the whole time, I have a really hard time buying that he has the reaction to Loki that he has in Avengers. Like the whole thing just feels so retroactive, and this is always the risk you run with doing a prequel like this. We'll see if Black Widow manages to avoid some of the same problems that this has in being a prequel. That being set later into the MCU, it should be easier to get around some of that stuff. But you get writers with prequels that just cannot help themselves but throw in cute explanations for things that either need no explanation, had one already, or do kind of need one, or we'd love to have one, and it does not line up with what we had already.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can talk about this all throughout the whole commentary, what you said earlier. I don't know why this had to happen. Why couldn't it just happen after Endgame? Why does she have to be here the whole time? What is the point? And we'll talk about this, Endgame makes this worse. Because she does nothing in Endgame.
Yeah.
She's no, like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a bait and switch, like we think she's going to save the day, but she doesn't. That's all it is, because she doesn't do anything in Endgame except for fight with everyone else.
She shows up at the end as a Deus Ex Machina, and I'm not convinced that scene even necessarily needed her. There's probably other things that you could have contrived to make that explosion happen. Because this just blow up a ship, like...
Yeah, she doesn't do anything of any consequence. She just fights in the big war with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I think she drops a big ship. Like, I think she turns the tide of the battle, maybe, but, like...
Okay.
You could have contrived it some other way. It didn't have to be
Yeah.
that. And...
Let her be the big thing after Endgame.
Maybe moving forward, we'll buy that for some reason we needed her established out in the rest of the universe. Weird that her name hasn't come up in 2 Guardians films, though. You know? It seems like that's the reason. It seems like it's for some, like, we haven't had it yet, but, like, for some reason that seems arbitrary right now, we needed her operating for 25 or 30 years, and that's, like, she's already established and out doing stuff. I don't know what that reason is yet, beyond her just showing up at the end of Endgame.
Yeah.
And I also wish that this movie had been put out before Infinity War, if we had to have it, because, like, I think part of the reason that they did this, besides, maybe not having a lot of confidence in the material, I get the sense that this is, like some of the Thor stuff, one of those movies where they're not sure about how audiences are going to respond to it, so they're doing coyly everything they can come up with to make sure that people still go and that it does all right. Like, I think that they have more confidence in the Ant-Man movies than they did in this. Because, like I think that they put this movie out before, like, in between Infinity War and Endgame, hoping that people would think it was really important and necessary to see to go to Endgame, and that worked. I mean, I'm positive that the reason that this movie made the money it did, because it did huge guns. I think it was just because people were afraid if they went to Endgame without it, they'd be missing something. But story-wise, it should have come out before Infinity War, because the reveal that that Fury is using that pager to call her is a way better reveal if you know what that means. Like, they were trying to make it that fanboy thing where it's like, oh, cool, if you're in the know, if you're one of the few people that read the comics, then you'll... relatively few people, then you'll know what that symbol means, and we got Captain Marvel coming. But wouldn't it have played way better if it was, oh, that's right, he has that thing, and he can call her? It would have played so much better if that was the sequence.
Yeah. Instead, they used it to get people hyped about this movie. Because everyone had to go home and look it up and see what that was, and they're like, oh, okay, the next movie.
Well, I wrote
we got to know what that movie. We got to know who that is in that movie because she's coming.
So I wrote in a rewind somewhere recently. I can't remember what it was. That I remember, in the theater, like, comic fans all had to go into, like, work mode at the end of that movie and explain to everybody around them what that was.
Yeah, the guy sweeping up for the theater when I saw Infinity War, everyone was like, huh? And he was sweeping up. He was like, that's the symbol for Captain Marvel. And it just kept going. She's a superhero from Marvel. It was really funny.
And possibly that guy only knew that because he's heard all these people have this conversation 100 times with this movie while I sweep it up.
TH1, $5. Why now? Because every alien-based hero starts in the past to explain why they aren't in the present. Example, Star-Lord, Cap being frozen.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
But she has an excuse. She's in other galaxies. She's not an Earth-based hero, so...
Yeah, and also, like there's no... It's like they have to come up with contrivances to fit her into the continuity before we had superheroes past Captain America. Like, I disagree with you, Tom. I think it's actually backwards from that. I think it would have been much more fluid and organic if she had been introduced in the present in the first place.
Well, especially because she gets her power from an Infinity Stone. It could have happened in Infinity War, or like and I don't know.
Boy, that's a really good point too. Yeah. Yeah,
something Thanos did.
Yeah,
gave
she
her
could
the
have got
power.
hit by it in a fight with Thanos or something, or like while the stone is out and Thanos is trying to get it. But then it's like, how do you get her there in the first place? But if the idea is she had, let's not rewrite the story. If she had to be with the Kree, and she's up in space for 6 years, Tom, it's arbitrary. Like, those 6 years could be at any time. She's been out in space since the early 90s or the late 80s. In this, she could have been out in space since 2010 if we did it then. Like, what's the difference? I guess it's harder to make it an Air Force pilot, because we don't use those in the same way that we used to. Although I think even at the point that that she's a fighter pilot, though, we're probably not using fighter pilots in war as much, right? Because this would even be post. I don't know the year. Are we post Desert Storm, or are we just around it? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure it would be any different than present day, even with the fighter pilot thing. I don't know. It's not a Top Gun situation, but you don't even see her in war. Like, she doesn't really do that, right? Isn't she just?
I don't know what she pilots for. Is she just still learning? She never does anything. She's just a pilot.
Also, I might be conflating this with a different project, but I thought I remembered when this movie was announced and we started getting information about it that they had changed her backstory from the comics and she wouldn't be a pilot. And then we went to the movie and she was? Am I remembering that right, guys? Or am I thinking of something different?
Yeah, let him know, because I don't know. No, he knows the movie's in 95. He was talking about, he doesn't know when Desert Storm was.
No, I didn't know what year the movie was supposed to be. Is it 95?
It's 95, yeah.
Okay. That I could not remember. Writer, you guys are already putting more thought into this than Kevin Feige did. Again, in their defense, though, this I can see why like Thor for some people, but Thor I get less because there's a lot of people that love Norse mythology and mythology in general and those kinds of fantasy regal stories and stuff. This it's got to be hard to find people that would be passionate about this material and would know really what to do with it. Especially after you've already done Guardians, because, like, what do you make this movie? It'd be really easy to just make it another space epic. Instead, they try to combine genres and make it that plus a spy thriller at the same time, which on paper is a good idea. Especially because Carol Danvers already has some of that. Like, she's related to the space branch. Is it the space branch of S.H.I.E.L.D., or is it just is SWORD just another thing like S.H.I.E.L.D., but it mostly deals with space. Anyway, she's got a little bit of that secret agent thing in anyway. On paper, everything about this makes sense.
You know what's really weird is they kind of do the same thing they do with Spider-Man that everybody complains about, where we have to have another well-known Marvel MCU character in this because we don't know if she can sell it on her own, but no one complains about that in this movie.
Ren Davis, she left in 89, though, so I think that's before Desert Storm. That is before Desert Storm. Desert Storm is like 91.
Yeah, that's when Marvel dies, is 89.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess it works.
Daniel Davis, found an article from 2016 talking about changing her origin. Okay, so then did they change it back, or... Because I'm pretty sure she was a fighter pilot in the comics, right?
They're shifting stuff around last minute. Like, I mean, they canned a whole Inhumans movie.
Jedi Knight, SWORD is the offensive branch of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, I thought SWORD was specifically, in the comics anyway, related to space.
That's how I think of it. But that's because Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Okay. Writer, Geekvolution, what were you doing in 1995? I was 11 in 95, and I was living in Arkansas with my dad. That was a wonderful... Yeah, that was actually the year I moved back to Arkansas with my dad. It was a wonderful summer. That was the year that Batman Forever came out, and I remember that summer super fondly, because I was so into that movie, and I remember going to my dad's restaurant a lot, doing coloring pages from Batman Forever coloring book, and writing my own comic book.
Wow. I remember nothing. I was 3. I don't know what I was doing. It was
a special year for me. And that was the year that... No, I guess it was that would have been a year later. I was going to say that was the year that we got a Sega Saturn, but that was the year after.
Which is another thing. Like, I've heard people complain about the needle drops in this movie, how they're like groaners. I don't know any of this music. I was a baby in the 90s, so like... None of, like, I don't know any of these songs, so obviously it didn't, like, make me groan that they were playing a bunch of 90s songs.
I just can't even imagine going through life not knowing this soundtrack already. That's funny. Blue Dragon 595 was a good year. Yeah, it was. That was also the year of, not that this is a good movie or anything, but that was also the year of Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Hey! Sequel to it, Casper and Wendy, starring Justin from Power Rangers Turbo.
Yeah, that was direct-to-video.
Yeah.
I believe.
Of course. Oh, there he is, the star of the show.
Does Fury seem out of character to you in his obsession with playing with a cat and being all cutesy with the cat, or can he not be out of character because he hasn't found himself yet? But then how old is he supposed to be at this point? Because, again, and this is also a very prequel-y thing, a prequelitis problem. He seems like a totally different person, and it's kind of fun, and if you gave me... Because that could happen. I mean, if you gave me the thing that turned him where, into something closer to the comic book Fury, where he's very ends justifies the means, he's all about compartmentalization of information, all the stuff that Winter Soldier is about, but he used to be more like Colson, where he was... where he was real naive and gave everybody the benefit of the doubt, and even though he's working for a secret spy organization, he tends to trust people. You have to give me what the change is somewhere, and you're not going to give me a flashback movie now where we do it. Like, this would have been the place to do that if you're going to do it. So I don't know, like, can you call that out of character?
I think Nick Fury was way out of character in, like, his first appearance in Iron Man 2 when he was, like, making a bunch of weird donut jokes.
This is back to that, my friend. But see, that seemed like I don't give a crap, period, for Fury. Like, I could totally work that into the canon for him, where, like...
I don't know. We
I
never
guess...
see Fury in like his home life. Maybe he's just a real cuddly guy who loves cats. I don't know.
Writer. I think I remember the cat that played Goose was one of the more exciting cast members in the film.
Why are you in this movie? Why is he in this movie?
You don't like the Ronins in the movie?
He does nothing. Why is he here?
I think he's just here because he is traditionally caught up in the whole Kree, the whole Kree Skrull War thing. Like, he is, in the comics, related to all of that.
Well, then make him more. Do something with him. He's like Darth Maul in the hologram.
It's kind of just a cameo for him, yeah. Now, I guess I appreciate that we don't, although this could have been good, I guess I appreciate that we don't go all the way to giving him his villain origin in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But that could have worked, maybe. I don't know.
Well, and I think they go...
Tom, why are you obsessed with Norax? What is your deal with that guy? He's awful, intentionally.
So I think this is a little weird, because I think they think that the audience knows too much about the regular Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Because the only Kree that we've ever seen is the bad guy of Guardians 1.
That's right.
So as soon as my wife being not into the comics, as soon as she saw them talking to Ronan, she was like, "Oh, the Kree are the bad guys?" So it was not a reveal at all for her. Like, she just thought that's what that was saying, because that's the only experience we have with Kree. Like, I didn't think that, but
yeah.
like, I don't know what normies would think of that.
I get why they thought it might be a reveal, though, because he is a radical. Like, if you're really paying it, the problem is that he's not an interesting and compelling villain for a lot of people. So people aren't really paying attention to what his actual motivations and backstory are. But like,
he's a radical religious dude who like broke away from the Kree. So even if these Kree were good, it would still make sense. But
exactly. But you're right. We've only seen the bad one.
Casual viewers, I don't know how that plays.
And by the same token, I don't know how well the Skrull reveal worked either, because the beginning of the movie, I guess, does an okay job of making them seem kind of scary, but like, the Skrulls haven't been able to be used in the Marvel Universe prior to this, so... or at least they haven't used them, so it does play a little bit like maybe people are supposed to already know who they are and be creeped out by them. Because I don't know that they play that enough to the... I don't know if they put that enough to the fore either. This whole thing would work so much better, by the way, if the aliens at the end of Avengers could have been Skrulls.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
Instead of the Chitauri, because that was, if memory serves, that's what they wanted to do, and for some reason they couldn't, so they went to a weird kind of backdoor race from Ultimate that wasn't even in 616, I don't think, with the Chitauri.
So she's great. This actress is great, and it's awesome that even her daughter in WandaVision. I'm glad we could talk about that now. I'm glad that finished.
This lined up really nicely, didn't it?
Yeah, it was perfect. Because she's great in that show, too.
I was indifferent toward these characters in the theater. They just seemed like, obligatory supporting characters so that Carol had somebody to help restart her brain and give her kind of Spawn background. She's Spawn. But... But after seeing WandaVision, I find myself a lot more interested in them because I like Rambo in that show, and the little girl in this, when you put her up against the character that she becomes, is amazing because it's the same character and she looks like strikingly similar. Like, it's crazy. Like we went backwards with that. Very often I'll see child actors and actresses that where I'm impressed that we were able to get them so close to the adults. This time it's, you cast an adult who was a really good actress, who I instantly found likable and cared about, who was enough like this little girl who had a spunky personality. Like, she's the same character. It's really good.
Yeah. No, and she's a great child actress.
But WandaVision's a double-edged sword, because it also has me going back to this show going, Oh, I kind of wish this movie was just about Rambo. Like the
Yeah.
Rambo from WandaVision. Like, I kind of wish she was, like, that character was just Captain Marvel in the first place.
Yeah. Well, and it's so weird that we're setting that up before she hasn't even had a second movie. Like, are we just gonna have two? Like, I don't know.
That Psycho Reviewer, we're going to do a WandaVision spoiler cast on Sunday this week. I haven't announced that yet, but that's when that's going to happen. So I'll talk about it then. I've got to give it another watch before I'm going to be very comfortable saying too much about my feelings on it.
Ryder, keeping it going. Who has better CGI special effects, Dark Phoenix or this? Just gonna keep comparing.
We're still comparing these this by a wide margin.
I haven't seen Dark Phoenix, but I'm assuming this.
That guy also looks kind of like a Skrull.
That's why she's giving him the stank eye.
See, she didn't need that guy to not get in a bus and then be on a bus.
Well, he's not. I don't know if he actually. I don't think he actually is. Is he? I think she's just being super.
No. He will turn out to be a Skrull, I think, because. Well, we're told when we go back and see Talos that he has people in the yard, and I think that guy is supposed to be one of the people in the yard. But maybe not. I'm not sure. I don't think we ever cut back to him. We see some people from outside the window, but I don't know if that's him. And
yeah, I don't know. I get the idea that it's just these two guys.
No. He's got people in the yard. He's gonna say that. I'm almost positive I'm right about that.
Well, he's got him, and then he's got one guy in the yard with the girl.
Oh, is that all it's gonna be though?
Yeah, it's Norax. That's a TH1 just gave us $2 to say my man Norax is coming up soon.
Yeah, I know. I was referring to that earlier when I asked why he's so obsessed with that character, the science officer that can't do science.
Yeah, I don't know. Four Skrulls landed on Earth. I remember that, and then one of them died. Do we have 3 left, or do we just have 2 left?
Mutai, this is a good point. He says it also feels weird introducing Miss Marvel, because we're gonna have that soon with the Disney Plus show. When Carol already has a dynamic with Monica. Yeah, it's just like all these Marvels all of a sudden thrown at us when we haven't spent enough time.
You get a Marvel. You get a Marvel. You get a Marvel.
We haven't spent enough time with Carol yet. She's supposed to be the original, and we're rushing this real hard, so I know what they'll do. Or I think I know what they'll do. They'll treat her like a big, major legacy character that everybody, sees as this great icon that they all kind of, almost worship at the feet of, and
Yeah, how is Miss Marvel? Because she's supposed to be like, that's her favorite superhero. She hasn't seen her at all. She's only, she comes in Endgame,
maybe
and I guess
there's
that's the
footage
first
of
time.
her blowing up a ship. It's like, oh, cool. It was a neat looking space chick that did that.
Unless they jump ahead, that would be crazy.
Could be worse. It could be like the crappy 1990 Captain America movie where nobody knows who Captain America is, and he didn't inspire anybody. But there's a kid that's on a lawn that sees Captain America in the 40s, and we don't know why he even has costume, hanging onto the outside of a shuttle, and he flies over him, and somehow he gets a clear picture of him with his camera, and then that inspires him to become the president of the United States. So it could be worse.
Why does the Flurkin just look identical to a cat?
I have a better question. I assume that it is sort of like a Skrull where it also can shape change.
I assume that too, but then it never turns into itself.
We never see
it just has tentacles coming.
It just keeps going back to a cat.
It never leaves a cat. Just stuff comes out of the cat's mouth and then goes back in.
We don't have any explanation as to what that is. But I was going to say, better question is, why does it not show its true colors and start being violent until the movie decides it needs it to?
Well, yeah.
Because there's plenty of opportunities before that where it maybe could have done that, but even if it didn't, even if it waited until that big reveal on the ship in the third act, I don't know why it attacks Fury. Fury's been all over that cat the whole movie, and it attacks Fury just so that there could be a cute, stupid joke reason for him to lose his eye.
Also, why is it here?
Oh, I'm already doing that rant. I apologize. I'm already doing
Where did it come from? Why is it just in their house? Did it... stowaway on the Scrolls ship or something. It's been following them
I guess I
around.
never really thought about that. I'm not
It
sure.
just shows up. I don't even know where it comes from.
Oh, see, now she's being a fire pilot, but, to bad guys in space. Well, at least in spaceships.
Yeah, it's like they were just doing a test flight and they just got attacked.
Natalia, I think it's because it's a cat in the comics. Oh, really?
Yeah, she has a cat in the comics.
He says it's a cat with tentacles in its mouth in the comics. And
so,
in
yeah,
the comics,
it's
it's called Chewbacca. Of course
Yeah, it's called Chewie.
I didn't know about any of that. I'm not super familiar with this character. Like I said, when this was announced, I read a couple of I read a couple of comics with her in them related to other things I was reading, but I didn't seek out. I don't think I've ever read a standalone Captain Marvel comic. I did read Ultimate Squared, which is a team that she's a leader of. That's like a really cool cosmic think tank. And I bought that because of the Galactus stuff going on in that book.
Oh, wow.
That's the period where Galactus stops being the Devourer of Worlds and he becomes the Lifebringer. That's when we get, I think, Orange Galactus. And he is basically Genesis from Wrath of Khan, where he can turn. He brings life to planets, and he can turn lifeless worlds into life-bringing worlds. And that whole thing was great. And it's Ultimate Squared that makes that possible for Galactus. But she's really good in that book. I loved her there. Tom, $5 super chat. I think she should have hit Turbulence, making Fury grab him hard to explain why it attacked him. Anything at all would have been great.
What? I mean, that wouldn't have made it any better. It still would have been a cat scratching out his eye.
Well, yeah, sure. I'm just saying it's made slightly worse by the fact that it had no motivation for it, really. But you're right. I would still be complaining about it. It might be a 29-minute rant instead of a 30-minute rant if we done it that way. Ryder, I have a feeling this is the beginning of Act 3.
Oh, I don't think Ryder's seen this all the way through. I think you mentioned that. Yeah, so it's kind of cool that they bring back Pegasus.
Does he mean that in the actual film we're nearly there, or that he thinks that this scene was placed somewhere else? I just don't know what he means by that.
I don't know. I just know that earlier he said he hasn't finished the movie.
This is his first time seeing the film. Okay, yeah. Okay. There you go. I'm sorry, were you about to say something?
No, I just saying it's really cool. It's not really cool, but it's kind of cool that they brought back Pegasus, Project Pegasus from Avengers 1.
I don't even remember that.
They mention it briefly, like that's just them working with the cube, the Tesseract. So this is her working with it to try to get the power out of it and make it into this thing, which just blasts Carol and she can absorb the power for some reason. She's
you think that would just, I don't know, kill you?
Like Red Skull touches it and he goes into the sky. Good point. Anyone else who touches it dies. I don't know why she can absorb all the power of the Infinity Stone.
Yeah, unless you're Star-Lord and you're holding the hands of all your friends, and then retroactively we find out it's because you're part God. But we've already done that. We've already talked about that whole thing.
Yeah, that's the second movie.
Okay, so I have a read on this all of a sudden. This is where she does something really stupid and impulsive, and then instead of killing her like it should, it gives her powers. So she's rewarded constantly for just running in half-cocked.
Well, and I would say that the movie is on her side because there's a conversation
that's what I'm saying. The movie is too on her side. Why would you shoot something that close? I mean, or was it supposed to be like a self-sacrifice?
She shoots it so they can't get it. Because he's going to get it.
Okay, all right. You know what? I retract that. If it's supposed to be a self-sacrifice thing, if she was killing herself on purpose so that he couldn't get to it, that's fine. And that actually makes it a little bit better because that gives me heroic properties up front. So, if
that shows how much she cares for her mentor character, that she was willing to do that for her.
Yeah. No, forget what I just said. That was dumb. I want to go back and take about 45 seconds out of the commentary. This is like nobody will be able to hear me say that. I'm kidding, but that means that the amnesia is a direct consequence for her doing the Captain America thing, and I like that.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be just generically, well, she learns that she's a good person because she has power. Like, I just don't like the way they talk about it. You know what I mean? You like, if she's supposed to be a Captain America type character, that works a lot better. You know, if it was Steve Rogers.
Well, she was, yeah. She's
and-
kind of like that. She's like never give up. That's her thing.
Yeah, if that's her thing.
Which is kind of what we get in that montage later. It's just so quick. I do like the idea that they like completely rewrote her memories so that she saw a Skrull in that scene instead of Jude Law.
I think it might, and if they can rewrite her memories, I think it might have almost been better if, completely unrelated to the fact that she's female, right? The Kree give her like an actual kind of like dour character flaw that she discovers she has only because they've done it to her. And then when she gets her memories back, she's like, oh man, I keep doing this horrible thing all the time, and it's actually not me. Like, that would have been good.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing earlier. Like, it would have been better if she had to wrestle with the fact that she's been brainwashed and she had to shake her new personality and get back to her old personality. Not like she's been a problem child the whole time when they're trying to train her and she's like hard to train. If she was a perfect soldier, like they trained her, like Winter Soldier, like the wrong way, and she had to like relearn how to be human.
She could have been like,
that would have been interesting.
This would have made the movie a lot darker. She could have been like an interrogator or a torturer or something.
Yeah, that would have made it a lot darker.
Would have been a lot darker.
It's already a little weird when you go back to that scene in the beginning and she's like, they're like shooting innocent Skrulls. Once you know the Skrulls are like refugees, and then you have to watch that scene again.
Steve Murphy, they could have heightened her aggression. Absolutely. Yeah, they could have turned her in. They could have made it. That's a really good point. They could have made it something like, you could have a really cool nature nurture thing again. Because I think this movie sort of thinks it has that. It doesn't. At least in my mind, the couple times I've watched it, I could sit down and write a rewind about this later and find myself finding all kinds of things I'm not noticing now, and it's a totally different thing. But it could be a Weapon X kind of thing.
She will have no memory.
You know, and then we probably complained that it just seemed like that story again, but if you did it well...
Well, yeah, and we know they did stuff to her. They gave her a blood infusion, so she has...
Yeah.
Blood. I don't know why.
Well, I love the idea of increasing her aggression as opposed to just going... And maybe he's suggesting that the idea is that that's what they actually did, but I'm not getting that sense.
Oh, because she's
especially
not.
because what's her face? I almost said Monroe.
Rambo.
What's her name? Rambo. I mixed them. An M name and a yeah. But Rambo. Too many names swirling in my head right now. Rambo acts like she also was that kind of impulsive character who didn't think before she did things. And so is the movie saying that it's just fine to be that way, or that she wasn't actually really that way, or I don't know.
No, I mean, Fury basically came out and said that earlier when they were in the car. He said, "You acted quickly, acted on your gut," and he said it as if it's a good thing. He said that's hard to do, so he was rewarding her, or he was like complimenting her.
That's a good point, but why don't we talk about the subtle, nuance of that? The times where that is absolutely the right thing to do, and the times where it gets you into trouble, or make it like a, Spider-Man power responsibility thing where it's like, that's her credo. She stands by it, and she knows that sometimes she's wrong, but it's better than being timid and making worse mistakes that way. Like you take the good with the bad.
Well, that's what I don't think it's supposed to be as impulsive. I think it's because he, in the very beginning, one time, because we haven't seen him in forever, the mentor character.
Yeah, I mean, we got a flashback with him just now, but
he says you're too emotional. You need to be more logical. So the Kree are supposed to be like these only logical, no emotion characters, like Vulcans, right? But we don't get that sense at all. Like,
are they?
He's getting angry he's more emotional than she is.
Oh, okay, so he's an Enterprise Vulcan, and that's the problem. Okay.
That's what he says in the beginning.
There you
and that's
go.
supposed to be. I think the idea probably works, but it's not
So it
conveyed at
okay.
all.
So it's supposed to be they're pushing her to go against her humanity as opposed
Yeah.
to they're saying that because she's a woman, it's fine that she's like overly emotional about everything.
Yeah, that's the allegory, but it's in the
Okay.
movie. It's supposed to be a species difference where they're super logical and they don't
Dude,
get
if that's what it is,
messed up by
it's
emotions.
not working at all.
It's
Like
not in there at all.
it's not in there.
Is
Yeah.
screaming and mad all the time.
Okay.
I don't understand
Okay,
that.
I think you've landed on the reason this arc doesn't work for me. There you go. Okay, so speaking of things that don't work for me, this costume thing is really stupid, and I want to talk about why it's really stupid. So she has a thing on her arm that allows her to change the colors of the costume, but it's a uniform, and everybody in the Korean military has that uniform, and I assume that that's also built into all of their uniforms, but they're not supposed to use it.
I could see if they were going, like, depending on what mission they're on, they might need to change it to be more stealthy or more. I could see it working.
Okay, but they need
just
to use it somewhere before this then.
Yeah.
Because it seems like just convenient that it's there, and then you have that line from her mentor when he's like, "What did you do to your uniform?" And I'm like, it's like an app built into the you could do it too. And she could turn it right back if she wanted to. That's such a weird line. What did you do to your uniform?
I think the
She
idea
didn't
is
spray paint it.
I think the idea is supposed to be like, why is it red, white, and blue? Like, why are you wearing those colors type thing?
Okay, but I stand by this. I don't like it.
Because I think it's kind of cool that your team could like switch outfits. It would give
And it's a great idea. I wish
like
it was
for X-Men, if
used
all the X-Men
somewhere.
could just change from blue and gold to like black and like different uniforms
And the
together.
technology's super cool. Like the idea that you could customize your own outfit like that. The colors of it, I love that. That's cool. I love the neon one that she does. That's like the Schumacher Captain Marvel
Yeah,
suit.
that looks awesome. And my biggest problem with it is, okay, why does this girl know how to punch these unlabeled buttons and change colors? She just starts doing it, and I'm like, what are you doing? How do you know how to do this? This scene, wow, strangely reminds me of the end of Wonder Woman. I think it's just because they're in this shed type thing.
You know what we're not getting right now, though?
No, and I can't tell you what Captain Marvel's score is at all.
I can't either. No, it's generic. Or at least I don't remember it. But
which is annoying. She should have like a really triumphant, like Superman-esque.
I think so too. Yeah. I think she's supposed to be closer to like Steve Rogers altruistic, and I'm not. I didn't get that before. I thought it was just making excuses for her behavior. That really is what it's always watched like to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm understanding it better, and it's not enough in the movie. And anyway, Sorry, go ahead. Good.
No, you're good.
Something else I wanted to mention about the costume thing is I think it's very strange, and I don't know if the comics do the same thing, but I think it's very strange that you would take the icon, the emblem of a military that you fundamentally disagree with, and make it your own symbol. Like you change the colors, but you're still going to wear the uniform of people who did despicable things to you and took your memories away? Like, I'd think that you'd be taking that off immediately and replacing it.
And oppressed an entire race of people for decades after the war was over? Like, why? Why did they do that? Why couldn't that symbol just not be there on their uniforms? And she adds it.
She adds it, yeah. I mean, you could do that whole thing where she has a line where she's like, I'm going to make this symbol mean something different. I guess you could do that. But even still, even if you did that, it's like, but it doesn't mean that, because this whole race is still using it for their military.
Anyone who sees you is going to think it's a Kree uniform.
That's the thing. Anybody that doesn't like the Kree is going to... She's going to have all these conversations with people like, no, don't worry, you can trust me. It's just... I just have to explain the ironic reason I'm using it.
It's like an ironic t-shirt. It's like, no, I'm not like those people. I'm doing it ironically.
Connor. Oh, hi, Connor. Isn't it crazy that this movie is old enough to have a rewind? That is crazy. And
Exactly.
that tells you how far behind I am in the Marvel movies, too. Not that I've always done them completely in order, but, like, I still haven't done Civil War. There's a bunch of stuff. I mean, Black Panther's more than old enough now.
It's been exactly 2 years. I watched this tomorrow, 2 years ago, on the 10th. That's when it was in theaters. It's really weird how this lined up.
Oh, Blue Dragon 5, I'm glad that you mentioned that line because we talked over it. But yeah, why would I turn into a file cabinet? I like that line. I think that's funny. And I like it when he goes, I'll give you $50 to turn into a Venus flytrap right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've already said it, but Ben Mendelsohn is great in this, and he's really dry, which I love. He's really great.
But yeah, there are moments like that. I mean, this movie absolutely has its moments. You know who loved this movie, DJ? Showed this
Uh,
to my kids yesterday. Freddie was all about this movie.
that's cool. I'm glad. It's a simple enough story that I think it is probably better for kids because I mean, despite the dark stuff in it that they probably won't understand. But yeah, it's just a space like mediocre action movie.
In Marvel's laboratory.
TH1 says we need affordable clothes that change color schemes like hers. Yeah, maybe someday.
Oh, yeah. I immediately in the theater when I saw that, I was like, we're going to have that someday. Marvel needs a stupid sister named Dee Dee. In Marvel's lab.
Dee Dee.
Dee Dee, my stupid sister Dee Dee.
The Tesseract.
Wait. Is the Tesseract just open? So you can touch it? Oh, okay.
Well, she touched it when she was a human and just, or she didn't touch it, but she got all the powers of it, so I guess she's fine.
But the cat did it.
That's true. Well, the cat can swallow it later.
Oh, that's true, too. Okay, so we're just not consistent at all with who can touch the cube and what it does when you do, and...
Well, that's the thing. That's supposed to be like a moment, like, I guess. I thought that was supposed to be like, oh, look how powerful she can hold it in her hand, but she did it when she was a regular human, so...
And also, 5 seconds earlier, the cat was touching it, and we don't know that's an alien cat yet!
That's true, that's true. I have no idea what's
now,
going
come on!
It's just, yeah, there's just such... It's weird for a movie where they wanted to shove so much...
Oh, we got some Dexter's
MCU
Lab
stuff.
fans in the crowd. I'm glad somebody got that. Great.
Daniel Davis.
Jedi Knight Red Skull touched it. Okay, I just don't understand when it's okay to touch it and when it's not. Because doesn't that mess with people when they touch it?
I mean, any other Infinity... Like, the whole Guardians of the Galaxy movie is how you can't touch an Infinity Stone
Or
or
is
you
the
get
idea that the
blown up.
Tesseract is different because it's in cube form? Like, that's not its regular form, and then if you put it back into... I don't know how any of this works, and neither do they, so maybe we don't have to keep wasting our time trying to figure
Whether
it out.
or not you can touch it is irrelevant to the fact that you can absorb the power of it. That shouldn't be able to happen.
Wow, I didn't realize that was DJ. Anime just totally threw you under the bus, buddy. I think it's funny that Cap's review for The Founder has a comment from DJ complaining about Cap and Eric eating on camera. DJ was lucky Cap wasn't his boss back then.
I wasn't rude about it. I was trying to be constructive.
Professor Zoom, why do you think they changed Marvel's gender? I don't know. I mean, like, is it just as simple as they wanted her to have a female mentor? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it was necessary. I don't know that it bothers me that much. All at the same time, I'm kind of indifferent to it. Because the actress is really good, and
Yeah, she's
if
a good
I
actress.
didn't know anything about comics, I wouldn't have known that character wasn't female in the first place. And I don't have a lot of a dog in this fight because this is not material that I'm real into. So just me personally, I did not care about that. But if it was something else that I was really into, I might. I don't know. Case by case.
TH1 gives us $5. He says, I think it's because it's a casing like the iron ball thing in Guardians.
Oh. I like that line too, where Fury says, if I played the same pinball machine for 6 years, I'd have a high score too.
But earlier we play with that because Fury's like, I'm not touching that thing, and then the Flurkin eats it instead. So I don't know.
Well,
Pinball
yeah,
machine.
but that might not be because it's dangerous. It might be because Fury doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
What did you do to your uniform? I made it pretty!
It's not green.
I fixed it! That's what I did.
And this is where we're really not gonna have anything to talk about because it's just an action movie or it's just an action scene for the rest of the runtime. It's funny. You had said to me this morning, or was it yesterday? Might have been yesterday, that this is way too long. But our biggest complaints are that we don't get enough. It's like it's filled with stuff that doesn't need to be there.
Yes, but information and character motivation and such are not always like complaining that there's not enough of that there is separate from pacing, right? There's a bunch of stuff in BVS that's missing. It's not that it's too short. It's just about what you do with your real estate. But I found this to be not a straight up slog all the way through, but DJ, like when I say it's too long, I don't mean to say that this should have, well, I don't know. A part of me thinks this should have been an hour and a half. The story that's being told here, if we're not going to get any more actual character stuff for her, it does feel like an hour and a half story for me. But more of it, I think a lot of the reason that I'm feeling that way, or at least I did last time I watched this, it's gone faster this watch, but we're talking over it.
Yeah, we're talking through it.
I think but we've had commentaries that were not that way. Talking over it still felt like it took 1,000 years to get through. I think it's because by the time I get here, I'm not caring as much as I feel like I ought to. And so I'm kind of just ready for the movie to be over already. Because I'm just not as into it as I want to be.
Yeah, the scroll thing is interesting for me, but I don't really like. She's just herself now. For some.
I just want to comment real quick on the music selection there. The Come As You Are song. That's a good thematically appropriate song to go to, and that band's always great. Of course, the complaint that a lot of people made was if she's been gone for 6 years, she wouldn't know that song. It wouldn't have been out yet when she left. So how's it there? Unless she heard it somewhere else in the movie and we just didn't see that part. That's the only possible explanation. If she left in 89 or 90, she should not know a Nirvana song.
Well, she shouldn't. Yeah, she shouldn't. There shouldn't be any 90s movies in this. It should be 80s music, right? Music, not movies.
No, because I don't agree with that because
space.
She's not selecting any of it until this point.
That's true.
No, it should have 90s music because she is getting reacquainted.
Not the Peter Quill thing.
She gets in the car and turns on the radio when it's playing whatever it's playing. Like, no, of course there should be 90s music.
Now, for some reason, like, this has like nothing to do with that movie, really. I guess it's just because she's a pilot, but for some reason, every time I see this flashback montage, I get like so many Green Lantern vibes. Like
That's interesting.
In my
is it
brain,
just because
Green
it's a pilot?
Lantern
She's a
pops
pilot.
up. It's because there's like a pilot, and there's like a flashback in that movie where he's talking, like his dad is in the flashback. I don't know. For some reason, every time I see these flashbacks, I get Green Lantern pops into my head.
I think some of it's the color palette.
Involuntarily.
I think the color palette's really similar.
Yeah, because they fade it. They make it look like a memory. So yeah, her thing is she always gets back up. She's Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, but like that hasn't changed since she lost her memories. It's not like she needs to like flash back to these things to remind herself who she is. Oh, that's right. I've gotten too close to giving up. Like I never get the sense that she's considering throwing the towel in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that that's what it's supposed to be, but then I just don't know what the point is. Like,
yeah, it's like she literally just has these memories of herself standing up to get her to stand up right there.
Yeah.
Also, the Veers thing is really dumb. It's a reveal that doesn't do anything. It's like, oh, they got her name from her actual broken dog tag. But why? They could have just named her anything.
Yeah, yeah, they could have named her anything. I kind of get like she wants to know who she is, so maybe we just don't get this, but like maybe she that was the last remnant of her old self, so she's like, I want to be called this. I don't know why, if it was her idea, she would pronounce it Veers and not Verse or something, but whatever. But you could do something cool thematically with it, where she's only got part of herself left. She's half a person.
Yeah.
But we don't really have that. It's kind of just a typical amnesia plot. Now she remembers herself again. It's too easy. The thing the protagonist wants is to remember who she was and find herself again. And now she has that. So now she can be herself. And
No.
there's just not a lot of great drama with that.
The Supreme Intelligence's look when she just takes off the device from her neck is like, oh crap. guys, she took it off. Our worst fear. Maybe we should have put it inside of her instead of just on her neck where she could just take it right off.
And then I'm curious to see, now that she's got her full power, what you do with her in another movie. Because people always complain about Superman being too powerful to have anything to go up against him. She seems even more so that way to me than even Superman. Okay. That's a very helpful cat that is also going to scratch out a man's eye for no reason.
It's plot cat.
I'm not saying they should have a conversation about this, but if it was me, I would immediately be like, okay, but what if we can't get it out of the cat?
Why is she not surprised that just happened?
That's a good point.
Does she know what a flurkin is? Is that supposed to be her cat that she left with her friend? Is that why it was at the house? I'm so confused.
I don't know.
I don't know where the cat came from. Lightsaber.
Somebody just asked me to stop hating on Carol. I'm not hating on Carol. I'm indifferent to Carol. I don't understand this character.
I want to like Carol.
I want to like her, yeah. And I like a lot of things in the performance.
And I like
if
how,
I'm hating on anything, it's the incompleteness of this story.
I'll give her a lot of credit. She trained a ton, more so than any other, a lot of superheroes. She's in really good shape. She does great with the action in this.
Oh,
she
is that right?
A lot of it. Yeah, you can tell. You can tell when she.
I mean, I don't think about that kind of thing a lot unless it's somebody just obviously is terrible at the fisticuffs or whatever. But yeah, she looks really good.
Yeah, she looks really good and stuff a lot of the time. My biggest one is Pacific Rim. Good lord, the actors in that, they let them do way too much of their own stuff because it looks terrible. That
writer, which had better costumes, Dark Phoenix or this.
Keep it going, man.
That's a toss-up. I like the costumes okay in Dark Phoenix.
I really like the Captain Marvel costume, but it's just one.
This was another song choice people complain about. It's kind of obvious. It's kind of just, yeah, we got a girl for a protagonist. Let's keep making a big deal out of that. I don't know. I'm not saying that I have a problem with doing any gender stuff in this movie necessarily, or if you have a good reason to do it, calling attention to that. But I'm not sure why here. It's just, it doesn't go with her specifically to me. I don't know that it's an appropriate choice. But then again, I don't fully understand her, so whatever. Austin has this idea that he's obsessed with DJ.
Okay.
Just obsessed with this. With the scene where he wants the song that plays there to be a parody of No Scrubs by TLC, and he wants it to be like the Ninja Turtles 2 thing where you had Vanilla Ice come out and he just suddenly has this whole song about the Ninja Turtles that he's able to just make up on the spot. He wants for somehow Weird Al to show up and do a parody of that.
Called No Scrolls.
It's No Scrolls.
Yeah. Well, I would like Weird Al to be in full scroll makeup.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
One of the refugees just starts singing.
But yeah, he's been apparently going on about that since this movie came out.
That's such an awesome thing. So TH1 gives us a super chat to say it's supposed to be Marvel's cat.
Oh, okay.
Which I guess Rambeau's been watching it since she died. So it was supposed to be in the house? Why is the cat just living with them as a normal cat?
Busted in the cat was Marvel's, wasn't it, at the base, not at Rambeau's house? Yeah, it just, in the moment, I was not remembering exactly where it was. And you seem to remember, so I was going along with you, but...
Well, we never went to the base. It was in the house is where we first saw it.
No, I thought they picked it up at the... when they were at the SHIELD base. Like, I thought it was... Was it supposed to be, like, with her files and stuff? Was that the idea?
No, they picked it up... I don't know. I thought they just picked it up when the two scrolls were there, and he's like, oh, that's not a cat. No, it wouldn't have been at the SHIELD base. It would have been at the... I think he's talking about the air base.
Oh, okay.
Marvel, okay. But Marvel hasn't been there since 89, so that was 6 years ago.
Cinematographic, who do you think is the most boring? Carol Danvers here or Jean Grey and a half in Dark Phoenix? Definitely Jean Grey. I just don't know if boring is the right word. Like, I just don't have enough to grab onto.
Scattered, yeah. It's scattered. There's a lot of ideas that never come to fruition.
It's gonna be a weird movie to try to analyze because I just feel like a lot of the answers to questions you might lob at me would be non-applicable, or I don't have enough information. Okay, everybody keeps saying that the cat was at the base.
Okay. I don't know how that makes it any better. There's just an alien cat living at the SHIELD base.
Yeah. It was at the SHIELD base. That's what I thought. But I don't know.
Is he not outing himself as an alien?
Has it been there forever? Like,
6 years?
Hang out there? Stephen Murphy, I appreciate that Talos is a good father who doesn't want his daughter to see him commit violence. Yeah, that's a good point. Whoa. Must have said, remember Fury first seeing it in the hallway at the SHIELD base. That's what I thought, but I was not confident about that.
Yeah, I just don't remember. I don't know who brings it to the house then.
Professor Zoom, Cap, do you think there will be a twist later on with the Skrulls revealed to be evil all along? No, I don't. I think it'll be a different faction of Skrulls. They're not going to have Talos turn out to be like a bait and switch. I think she looks really cool with the helmet thing, and I like that they went full tilt and gave it to her.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because I wasn't sure they'd go that far.
What is it, though? Is it just to protect her eyes? Because she has her mouth open.
I think it's because it's what it looks like in the comics.
Maybe there's like a clear thing that helps her breathe. I don't know. But
Ray
she's
Davis,
got the open
if you think
cowl.
Superman is too powerful but you're okay with Carol, then that's just weird. I agree with that. Daniel Davis, this action sequence is genuinely very exciting. I agree with that. And it looks really good.
Keep saying things that Cap agrees with, guys. Yeah, I mean, we have no complaints about what this movie looks like. Which is weird. That's usually where the complaints are. They usually get the character right. That's usually the one thing Marvel gets right. And then their action is usually kind of dull. Coming at you.
That was a choice. Right up in the screen. Ah!
I love the moment where she
I wonder what that looks like in 3D. Sorry. What were you saying?
I don't know if we've already seen it. I think we have, where she's just like flying around in space and she just goes like, whoa! And just like flies through a ship. That's fun. She's coming out a little bit in that scene.
So would you like her better if she was like doing like woohooing?
Yeah, a lot more woohooing.
Do you need her to go woohoo? Chronic, 2 pound super chat. Thanks, man. You guys are great. Hope you found it funny. We did this. Found it funny. Found it. We found.
I find the word this very funny.
This found we did hilarious. No, we appreciate the super chat. Thanks. Would you go as far as to say that production value wise, this looks as good as Guardians? Because I'm gonna go that far.
Yeah, nothing. I don't have any like major issues. Even the cat looks good.
Even the cat when it has tentacles coming out of its face.
Yeah, it's fine.
Looks good.
I mean, that's what I would imagine tentacles coming out of a cat's face would look like.
I want Captain Marvel versus Galactus. I actually think, because I mean, we're going to get Fantastic Four, and obviously I want Galactus to be dealing with Fantastic Four somewhere as well, and I love a big, cosmic Marvel event movie at some point. But at the very least, it could be cool to do a team-up movie with her and Silver Surfer.
Oh, yeah.
I think they could be very interesting together, potentially. We need to draw her some more. Let me also say that there's plenty we can still do to draw this character. I don't think this is remotely unsalvageable. I just don't fully understand her.
I wish she was... I like her much less than this in Endgame.
Yes,
she's just like nothing.
But I don't think there's any reason to, or at least very much reason to be concerned that the version that we have in Endgame is more of what we'll get versus this version, because they shot that first.
So when does Ronan get his like makeup on his face? There's like black lines and stuff. Because he looks terrible in this. He's just a blue face.
I think the black lines and all of that are because of the cult that he's in.
See, look, he just blew.
But yeah, that's just what they look like. I like that though. I like that we get to see what he looked like before that, and I like that he's kind of. I kind of like that he's kind of generic looking. Until he becomes a giant evil man baby. Right, or they were supposed to introduce her in Age of Ultron. Yeah, I remember that. She was supposed to be one of the heroes that's standing there at the end with like the new group of Avengers. They kind of teased us to think maybe that would be an Avengers movie, and then that never happened. But that was also supposed to, if memory serves, they were if they had the rights early enough, they were going to introduce. Am I remember this right? Weren't they going to introduce her and Spider-Man at the same time? That's
what I've always heard. Yeah. And then they're like, wait, we can't do that. We got to give her a whole movie first.
Busted Sim, Flurkin is Marvel's, hence familiarity with the Tesseract. Oh, okay. So the Flurkin takes the Tesseract because the Flurkin understands the Tesseract. Okay.
Yeah,
and then after the accident, wanders the base as a stray. Recognizes Danvers, Fury sees it. It stows away on their stolen quadret to Rambo's house. But why do people just let it be there? That's what I don't understand. Because does that mean that it's been there for 6 years? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's been on Earth, just chilling.
Okay.
Hanging out.
All right. Super Billy, $5 super chat. Thanks, man. Loving WandaVision so far. Almost done. We won't spoil anything. Darcy's irritating, and the parallel sword storyline, while good, isn't as compelling as the main story. Once again, I agree.
I didn't find her that irritating in that, but I guess...
I thought she got a little more so as it went along, and was kind of glad that they didn't use her too much.
Yeah, she kind of goes away. But I know people just take that character anytime she shows up, so that's understandable.
We'll talk about it on Sunday. I don't know if DJ will be there, but me and some other people will talk about it on Sunday. I've got mixed feelings at the moment about that whole thing. So we'll talk about it when we get there. Super Billy, another $5 super chat. Monica's great. She is interesting, likable, and has personality, unlike Carol. Actress is fantastic, kind of hampered by eye-rolling banter between characters. Well, like I said, we'll talk about that on Sunday. I hope you can be there.
It's always going to happen, apparently, in the MCU.
Say it again.
I said that's always going to happen, apparently, in the MCU. There's always going to be banter. You gotta make it through the banter.
Bruce Banter.
Which is what they were going to change his name to in the 70s show.
Right.
David
Because they thought Banner sounded too gay.
I like the idea that the hero can easily take the villain, but it's only because that she's been brainwashed by him that she doesn't. But I don't like that it's played for a dumb joke right there where she just blasts him across the desert.
And then right after that, we have to have the worst thing ever!
Another dumb joke.
I hate it so much!
Why?
It just... You don't mess with the thematic crux of Winter Soldier, and that's what that's doing. Because Winter Soldier suggests that he gets his eye ruined, however that happens. Yes, there's what looked like big scratch marks. Anything could have made that. All kinds of things could have made that. But the idea... Oh, she's got a heart shirt. I've seen them in concert. And I love them. But anyway, there's this idea in Winter Soldier that his eye is thematically and character-wise very related to his losing his eye. The reason that he's very suspicious of people, doesn't trust people, is kind of cynical, and it becomes a motif. And to go back and make it a joke where he just pretends like it's that for, I don't know, motivation or whatever, is really unfortunate. I hate that.
Well, it's not even that. They try to make that it. They put a stupid line in where he goes, "I'm trusting you, cat." And they pick him up, and then he does it like they even like knew about that. They remembered that scene and tried to make it work. It's even worse. That
makes it so much worse.
Like, you thought that was a satisfying... Ugh, it's horrible.
And again, I'm sure there are other things that happen to him that make him less trustworthy of people, but and that create, again, his worldview about compartmentalization and stuff.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst thing. That's the worst Flurkin thing, the cat thing in this whole movie. Why? Even if you don't remember all that, which a lot of people probably didn't. I didn't the first time I watched this. It's still just a lame, totally random way for him to lose his eye.
Mania Madness just called me an old man for seeing Heart in concert. My mom wanted to go, and I used to go to concerts all the time with my mom, arena rock stuff. So you're really calling my mom old. That's fine.
How dare you call his mom old? Get out of here. We're kidding. We love everybody. There it is. The beeper.
There's her Game Boy.
It looks like a Game Boy Micro.
And Ryder says her hair sucks. Okay.
Wow, you really don't like her hair?
Compared to Black Widow, she should have better hair. These are
Black
not
Widow's
things I tend to notice much unless it's just crazy or something. But
Yeah,
I think she looks fine.
I don't know what her hair looks like.
I will say, to the movie's credit, it does make sense, I guess, that the idea for a group of like extraordinary or superpowered people needs to come from somewhere. This is not necessarily the place to do that. I think it kind of could have been enough that you already had stuff like Ant-Man, where you have people in costume that are just covert, nobody knows about them, but that could give you the idea of making something like Avengers even before you have superpowers. I don't know that you need somebody with superpowers, but at the very least,
you had Captain America. Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, that's true, and you already have Captain America. So you're right. The idea is already kind of there. What am I talking about? And he was the first Avenger, right? Apparently not. But with well, okay, she would be the second, but we just didn't call it Avengers yet.
Captain Marvel, the second Avenger.
I don't like that whole thing. I think it's dumb. That like we've got to trace too many things back to her. But, also, where does the jacket go? You think we're gonna get some kind of movie later that explains where the jacket went?
Rogue stole it.
But at the very least, DJ, why on earth wouldn't he call her during Avengers? Maybe he did, and we just don't know about it. But like,
yeah, she just didn't come.
You'd think she would have had a line when she came in Endgame. Okay, I couldn't make it that last time, but I'm here now. I wasn't more than 2 galaxies away this time.
Yeah, it was too far. I noticed that this time they say it can reach 1 to 2 galaxies, so I guess they could just explain it that she was further away. But
yeah,
I mean, the answer is that didn't exist yet, obviously.
That is the answer, sir.
Also, this is weird.
So wait, why does he keep an eye patch if he could put eyes in his face?
Why is he looking at all different colors of eyes? It would just be the it would match his other one, right? Why would you want a green eye?
You have already, unless you wanted to be, what's the word for having two colors that they make a big deal out of in First Class? I can't remember the name of that. But maybe he wants to be that.
Yeah, he wants to have a mutation. Why? Yeah, why did he bring him a box full of green and red and blue eyes?
Cinematographic, Carol Danvers, the Nothing Avenger. Okay. Mutale, because he had the Avengers, that's why, Cap. Oh, okay, so those 6 people seemed like enough to take on all the Chitauri? Like, they were massively overpowered, and he really needed more people. That's why they almost nuked it. I would think he would call her.
And the weird thing is, like, in Infinity War...
He waited until half the universe, but he didn't even call her in
He doesn't
Winter
know
Soldier.
that, though. All he's seeing is, like, people crashing their planes, and he sees, like, he sees Maria Hill disappear, and, like, a bunch of other people disappear, but he doesn't know how universe spanning it is at that point.
You're right, they play it like he does that. Okay, so I watched this with, like I said, my kids the other day, and Jason got, during Infinity War and Endgame, because he was watching through those movies to go to the theater and see Endgame, he was watching through the Avengers movies, he got so tired of the Avengers theme, because it plays so often, and every time he hears it now, he just freaks out and yells and gets angry, because it's really funny. And so, we're watching this, and he didn't remember that it was at the end of this movie. It was like, ba, 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 ba. He was like, God, I can't get away from it! It's everywhere! Stop it! And I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have remembered that it was at the end of this either. But hey, he said Avenger. He typed Avenger, so you gotta get that theme in there.
He sure did.
So do we want to tell people our story about how draining this process is on our brains that we can't remember anything?
Yeah, go ahead. See if you can get it worked in before we get to the... that's a cat in the sky. See if you can get it worked in before we get to the after credits.
So I was watching this with my wife on Sunday to prepare for this, and I was like, I freaked out. I was like, oh man, Grace, we messed up. We were supposed to do Infinity War before this. We haven't done Infinity War yet. And, like, she pulled up her phone and pulled up the video and was like, yeah, you guys did Infinity War. No memory in my brain that we shot a commentary for Infinity War. And then Cap gets on the phone right before we start going live, and he tells me the exact same story. He also completely forgot about Infinity War.
I had the same thing. I had to look it up today, and I was like, wait, did we mess up? I don't remember doing Infinity War. Because I had this brain skip thing where I was like, well, now, wait a minute. This did come out after Infinity War, right?
Mm-hmm.
How have we not done that yet? It was a 3-hour video!
It's tough, man. I don't know what mental state you're in when you do these commentaries, but it's so scatterbrained and, like, all over the place that I don't think it sticks with you at all.
And then this will just get us in an Endgame, which we have to do pretty soon.
Yeah, it's coming up. That's next, isn't it? Yeah.
It is indeed.
And this is just a scene straight out of that, right? It's not shot. It's not cut any differently or anything. I've only seen that movie one time.
Boy, I can't remember. Yeah, I think this is actually in that movie now that you say that.
Yeah, I know it's in there. I just didn't know if it was like Avengers 1 where that Captain America thing was in the movie, but there was more to that scene.
Yeah.
Where he was punching the punching bag. My hair is about Infinity War Endgame Cap's length right now. We've been talking about that. Both of us are way past haircut. I should try to do what Cap does and just slick it straight back like that.
Whoa, She's at another.
Ah!
Hey, look, it's a different character with the same outfit.
Yeah, I don't know why that was shot like a horror movie.
It's a horror film. That was Carol Danvers is a jump scare. Well, DJ, through some of the rest of the credits, I have something I'd like to do if you'll indulge me, sir.
Oh, absolutely. I like being. I like to indulge. I like being surprised.
Like, this sentence is going to be weird, and now I'm committed. What am I going to do?
For it, man. It's your show still, even though your name's not in the title.
My name's not in the title, but I'm going to do something, I don't know, maybe somewhat a little bit indulgent. I am going to do a bit of a performance for you guys. This is related to this movie. And this is in honor of our good buddy, the Day Ghost of Austin.
Oh,
here we go.
Did he die?
The Skrulls are a race that think they're great, cause they can shapeshift into anyone. Always looking like who they want and expanding their empire. So no, don't come to my planet. No, don't look like my dad. No, don't pretend to be my plumber. No, infiltration makes me mad. No, I don't want no Skrull. A Skrull is an alien that can look like me, stealing my DNA and my RNA just by looking at me. I don't want no Skrulls. The Skrulls are a race that went to war with the Kree. They lost their planets for a while, but now they're back trying to look like me. There's a skull checking me over by that tree, and I know he's taking notes about me. Now he knows how I walk and the nerdy way I talk, and that I bite my nails. Oh, he's gonna beat me up, and he's gonna lock me out of my house, and he's gonna sleep with my wife, and he's sneakier than a mouse. No, I don't want no Skrull. A Skrull is a guy who can steal my identity using my credit cards. He's not from Mars, but he's spending my money. I don't want no Skrulls. The Skrulls are a race that invaded secretly, becoming all the superheroes, ruling like Nero, taking society. If your kid doesn't know what he had for dinner, oh yes, he might be a Skrull. If your boss talks world domination, oh yes, likely a Skrull. Your identical twin murders you. Oh no, that guy's gotta be a Skrull. No. Skrulls. No. Skrulls. No. Skrulls. No. Skrulls. I don't want no Skrull. A Skrull is a green guy with a wrinkly chin, trying to look like you so people think he's cute, cause he's really super ugly. I don't want no Skrulls. The Skrulls are the race that made the cosmic cube, fought everyone from the Shi'ar to a nihilist and everything in between. If you're a shapeshifter trying to spatially take over my world, then that leaves you in a class with Skrulls. Can't have those, Ryzen. I'm just gonna have to get myself hit with cosmic rays to bounce you out to the Andromeda galaxy. So let me give you something to think about while you get gross, turn your body inside out. Let me tell you what'll happen if I see me again staring at myself blankly and full of greed. Real tight with Wolvie and the Professor. He can see you coming from any vector. If that don't work, I'll call up Captain Marvel, or even Silver Surfer if you prefer. Your whole entire empire don't stand a chance, you bunch of liars with fires in your pants. You're just a race of cowardly lions, always lying and crying and hiding. You're scared of the Kree? Wait till you get a load of me. No Skrull. A Skrull is a guy who makes a costume out of me, making me explain why I killed a guy. I swear that wasn't me. I don't want no Skrulls. The Skrulls are a race with a sordid history. If I was one of you guys, I'd use your disguise and do kids' birthday parties. That was for the Day Ghost.
Yay! Oh, I wish I could have heard it. I could hear the music, but your voice was cutting out for me. I have to go back and listen to that one.
Oh man, I hate that setup always does that to you.
Yeah, I mean, I was I felt the groove, but yeah, your words were cutting out. But I'll go back and listen to it. I think it sounded great. I could hear bits and pieces of it. People are saying rapper Logan, rapped in Logan, the top 10 rappers that Eminem is too scared to diss.
I'm gonna put out a kind of polished version of that on the channel this week.
That's awesome. I can't believe you wrote that whole thing. See what happens, Austin. See what you do to people.
No, I did not improv that. No, I made that up. Recorded it yesterday for Patreon, and then I'm gonna do a more polished version that'll go on the channel soon.
Somebody said, "Great time to click on this video." Jared Flowers just popped in right then. David22 gives us a super chat, says definitely worth a Spotify.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, a lot of nice comments. Appreciate it. That was a lot of fun to write. I just did that yesterday afternoon. I was inspired watching this movie again. It was a conversation that I had a couple weeks ago with Austin, where he was going on about how he, like I said earlier, he thought that would be a brilliant thing to be in the movie. And I was like, we should write it. And he goes, I'm not really sure what I'd do with it. And I said, okay, can I write it? And he was like, sure. So I told him I would do it at some point, but didn't get to it until I watched this movie again, because I don't know a lot about the Skrulls. That was me watching Captain Marvel again, and then just having the Wikipedia page about the Skrulls up next to me.
That's amazing. No, I loved it. Even though I didn't hear I want to hear the lyrics, though, so yeah, I'll watch it.
Oh, thanks, Curtis. I got a couple super chats just because folks enjoyed that song. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. TH1, Curtis. Awesome.
I will try to get that up tomorrow if I can get it finished. I'm real close. I'm doing some backup stuff right now. I got to do some goofy emoting. Mutale, Cat, please answer, which is better, Wonder Woman 84 or this? Ooh. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I watched this again. I don't know if I'll ever watch 84 again, so I would have to say this, but... I'll have to watch 84 again if we do some kind of commentary down the line. So
this is a more even film than that, because it's, in the Marvel machines. I mean, I think it's kind of more watchable than that in some ways, but I think on a second viewing, that story resonated more than this did, but then on a third, I disliked it a lot more than I did on a second, so I don't know. I feel funky with that movie. I don't know. And then there's that cat with the
Oh, sorry, I was laughing at the comments. I actually paused my thing. I don't even know what happened. But someone said the Venom rap has nothing on you.
Thanks. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. I thought that'd be a fun surprise, and I'm glad I was.
So that's what he wanted Weird Al to do. You wanted Weird Al to do that?
Yes. Yeah, he wanted Weird Al to just show up and sing "No Skrulls."
Well, I think we should add you back into that scene.
Daniel Davis, 84. I suppose I enjoyed more of it. Stephen Murphy, in the cube doesn't burn through the desk.
That's true. It burns through the ship in First Avenger, but I guess that's because it just like shot off and sent what's his face, Red Skull into the sky. So I guess it was like hot or something, and then it started burning through stuff.
Or maybe it's because they decided in that movie it was going to burn through stuff, and then in this movie they needed it to not burn through stuff. All right, folks. Well, that is going to do it for us this evening. I hope you enjoyed our commentary, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. What is the next one? Is it indeed Endgame, or?
It is indeed.
Oh, man. Okay. So
I don't know if 2 weeks is going to be enough to prepare for that.
I don't know if it will either. That's going to be nuts. I mean, honestly, I'm probably not going to do much more than just watch it again. But yeah, you guys
I don't know what else I can
come
do.
hang out with us and help us out with all the information and tidbits and things, because it's going to be hard to keep everything straight in my brain. I don't know how well I'll do with like time travel rants and things like that. It's been so long since I thought about some of that stuff. But we're going to do our best, see how much of it comes back to us, and chat about it while we're watching it for you.
Yeah, that's a big one. We're going to need some audience interaction on that one, because that's where do you go with that movie? The conversation could just go anywhere. We're going to need you guys to guide us a little bit.
It won't be boring. I mean, there's plenty to talk about.
Yeah,
Professor Zoom, Cap, are you a cat person? I am indeed a cat person. Although I'm a dog person now as well. I have dogs. I love my dogs. I didn't used to be a dog person at all, but I still gravitate more toward cats. And I used to be allergic, so I couldn't have them, but now somehow I'm not, so I have a cat, and it's been fine for the 2 years I've had it, or the year and a half I've had it, and yeah.
Yeah, I also have a cat and a dog. No preference. I like them both.
Well, anyway, once again, you guys are great. Sure appreciate you. DJ and I will see you again on Thursday for a brand new episode of The Captain Logan Show. And then on Friday is the premiere of the Justice League Rewind. Now, somebody asked me how far I had gotten on that. It's on Patreon right now. I just posted the audio for that around 2 o'clock this afternoon. So if you're not a patron and you'd like to listen to that early, patreon.com/geekvolution, just the $2 tier, get you access to that. It's an hour long, and that's going to be on Friday night from 7 to 8 o'clock, a little bit past 8, my time, Central Time. And then next week is going to be the debut of the Snyder Cut, and we're going to be doing a blind watch here on the channel next Friday night, so the 19th of March. 4 hours. We'll take a little intermission in the middle of it, and I don't know how much actual talking we're going to be doing. It's going to be much more of a reaction kind of thing, so I would really urge you, if you decide to come to that, to not see the movie ahead of time. And please, if you do see the movie ahead of time, don't spoil it for anybody if you decide to come to that show. But we kind of just want to watch it with everybody, and I'll look at comments occasionally and read some things out probably, and we'll say some, occasionally we'll say something and we'll react and stuff. But I don't want to necessarily talk through that whole movie, of course. And depending on how that goes, we may not even leave it on the channel. It might just be for the people that are there live. We kind of just have to see what that turns into. But that's the news. That's what's happening in the next couple weeks here on the channel. So I hope to see you guys again soon in any of the number of things that we have going on. I'm Captain Logan, and that is